What's up, droners, and welcome to another Droner Dialogue. And today is another interesting episode where I talk about, well, we're gonna talk about airspace and why airspace has been such a big headache for me, other recreational, and of course, professional drone pilots. So the first thing I wanna talk about is like how I became aware of what airspaces are legal for me to fly in and not fly in. And we're gonna go back, we're gonna go way back. Because I know if you guys look back, you'll see Droner goes way back before the Part 107 days. Yeah, we old school out here. And talk about what drone life was before there. Before there was Part 107, there was the recreational rules, which I also remember those coming out. And before that, it was the Wild Wild West. But either way, recreational rules came out from the FAA, and they said that you can't fly anywhere that is within 5 miles of an airport. And I live in Southern California. So as you can imagine, that pretty much means I can't fly anywhere because there's airports everywhere. There's literally an airplane over our head right now. And that is very frustrating for me as a recreational pilot because I'm just like, well, how do I know if I'm allowed to fly or not? I only want to fly at 100 feet and I'm literally 4.5 miles away from an airport. Am I not supposed to fly? Am I supposed to? And it was really confusing. So typically a lot of people, what they would do is just risk it. Say, yeah, whatever, does the drone take off? Yeah, all right, well, I'll keep it safe and just do what I gotta do. You know, and just follow whatever rules I think I'm supposed to, blah, blah, blah. So that's how it used to be. And then the Part 107 came out. And then they said that there's different kind of rules. And the way that that works is that you have to take the test. And when you take the test, you learn that there are different, like the way that the airspace works is kind of like an upside down cake. So like you have like a layered cake, then you know it goes like that. And if you just take that and flip it upside down, that's kind of how airspace works, is where you'll have like a little circle here of saying that from the surface, as in like the ground, all the way up to, let's say 3,000 feet AGL, you're not allowed to fly because you're right on top of an airport. But then right outside of that, then it's like 3,000 feet. And then above, you have a different thing. You can fly over here. So you can be on the ground and fly 1.5 miles from an airport or something because you're not a part of that first layer of the cake. And it pretty much separated the different areas that you could fly in based upon the discernment of understanding how to look at a sky chart. And the way that they figured out if you know how to figure that out was the actual test. That's what you do when you take Part 107 is you actually have to be able to look at a sectional chart and be able to decipher and say, what airspace am I in? Is it legal for me to fly? What obstacles are here on the sectional chart to be able to figure that out? Now, they teach you how to look at a sectional chart. They also teach you that there is a website called SkyVector that gives you a sectional chart of pretty much the whole world. But we're going to keep this in the United States and say they give you a website it's called skyvector.com. And I was super excited when I first got it. I'm like, there's a website that all I have to do is go to this website and it can show me the airspace that I'm in. And it's like, kinda. Because if you go to SkyVector, you will see that as soon as you get there, you're like, all right, what is this? Because they don't teach you how to use SkyVector. They teach you how to use a sectional chart. And what SkyVector is a sectional chart that is digitized. So it's pretty much, you know, like the most basic form of Google Maps you've ever seen on a website that also has a lot of things that most people don't understand. Like right across the top of the screen, World High, Encode H4, World Low, World VFR, En route L7, Los Angeles, and Las Vegas. So I don't know if Los Angeles and Las Vegas is coming up because I am actually, you know, my computer is being pinged to be coming from Southern California and Los Angeles or not. I don't know what yours shows you, but it doesn't matter because whenever I open this up, it seems the map seems to be in a whole completely different place. Like it's wherever it wants to be. Today, we find ourselves in the Sierra Nevada mountains in a restricted area R2505. What is that? Who knows? But that's where we are right now. And one of the things you have to learn is how to read this chart, which is a real thing. But we're not going to talk about that today. That's a whole different, we have a whole different video on Part 107 and studying for that. And the best way to do that, check it out, it's amazing. But for today, I'm going to show you how much fun SkyVector is to use. So I chose to pick the most popular address there is that I can figure out, which is the White House, which is 1600 Pennsylvania Drive. So I'm going to type that in, bam.
Avenue.
That's what I said, that's what I said. I said Avenue. Pennsylvania, I don't know how to spell Pennsylvania, Avenue. Cool, bam, there it is. Type it in. Where do we go? Oh, nowhere. That's where we go. No, it doesn't even, nothing happens. White House. Nothing. Okay, Los Angeles. So yeah, I'm doing this for a reason. The search bar does not help anything at all. It doesn't do anything. And like I said, it's an extremely ghetto version. I shouldn't say ghetto, but it's an extremely useless version of Google Maps when it comes to that. So the best way to use SkyVector is literally to zoom out, which is a thing in itself. So the zoom out thing's in the bottom right corner, and then you get to the whole United States. You center your screen on where you want to go. So we're going to look at, well, I'm from Michigan. Let's look at Michigan. So we're going to go to Michigan. See a little bullseye right there? Oh, I'm not doing, yeah. So yeah, this is SkyVector, guys. This is how it goes. But you can use it. Like I said, it works. If you know how to read a sectional chart, you can use SkyVector. But now it's like, okay, I'm going to be flying in Detroit, all right? So I'm like, all right, well, let me find Detroit. I just so happen to know where Detroit is because I'm from Michigan. It's in the bottom right corner of Michigan. And I'm like, let me go to Detroit. I'm assuming this is Detroit where I'm going because there's a big area of a bunch of stuff there. As you'll learn, these are the different airspaces that you can and can't fly in. If you've got your 107, you know what you're looking at. Yeah, so the blue and magenta lines are giving us different areas of airspace. They're also giving us restricted areas like places that have TFRs or places that have just restricted like military zones. Those are the ones that are like frayed. I don't see any of those around here actually. But either way, even the dotted ones here, they just signify different airspaces because it's going to be showing us airspaces B through E. So B airspace, C airspace, D airspace, and E airspace. And you'll just know what kind they are because it's like a blue solid line is B, you know, and then so on and so forth. It's like, you just have to memorize it. It's a thing. You have to memorize that for the Part 107. Good luck with that. Either way, you look around and you say, oh, okay, here's Detroit Metro Wayne County, DTW, that's the airport. Bam, all right, we're in Detroit, even though this is actually in Romulus, Michigan, because I live there, I know that. And that is not actually Detroit proper. Detroit is a little bit north of the airport. But where is it? Oh, there it is, Detroit, bam, you see that? Detroit, it says it on there. Okay, cool. Well, I'm gonna be flying at, let's say, my old apartment building, which is Washington Square, which is now called Detroit City Apartments. Let's go see if we can find that. Let's zoom in a little bit more. Yeah, that's as far as you can zoom in. And as you can see, there's not many streets or buildings or anything else identifiable on this map because this map is not meant for you to be able to determine that. It's meant to show you airspace over the general area. So if you're looking to be able to say, I want to find this exact location down to an address, and you only want to be flying within, let's say, a quarter of a nautical mile of where you're going, it's incredibly difficult to be able to cross-reference this map to, say, a Google map showing you exactly where it is. And the way that I used to do it is, what I used to do is I used to go into Google Maps and I used to pull up a map and then try to like match the zooming. So I was like, okay, cool, type in the address and then it shows me where it is and I'm like zoom out and I'm like, and then I zoom back in and zoom out and zoom back in. I'm like, all right, I know how to zoom now, I got this. And then I would come back over to SkyVector and then zoom out and then zoom back in and then be like, okay, maybe I do have it. And then there's a couple landmarks on here. So that they might show you like, let's see here, we have, there's not really many. Well, there's Farmington Hills, there's Birmingham. So I know that these are north of Detroit proper. I also know this is Canada over here. So I'm like, all right, this is the Detroit Strait. That's the river. So I'm like, all right, cool. I kind of know where I am now. I kind of know where I am. And there's a stadiums. All right, that's downtown. You know, this is literally the thought process I would have to go through. So sorry about that. This is literally, I just wanted to share my experiences with you guys of how frustrating it really used to be to figure out what the airspace was, because this does tell you the airspace, but it doesn't tell you where you are. And that makes it very difficult as a professional pilot to be able to determine what airspace you're gonna be flying in. For example, my current job, they want me to fly in Huntington Beach. All professional flights that we do, or that I do, has to be like, I have to be in the correct airspace or I have to request a waiver from the FAA to make sure it's correct. If I'm not in G airspace, because that is the airspace you're supposed to be flying in, then, or like I said, if you're not in G airspace, then you're not flying legally pretty much unless you have a waiver. And you know, the waivers are fairly easy to get from the FAA, but they take time, up to 90 days, and the vast majority of clients are contacting you long after 90 days have passed. Like, oh yeah, next week can you do this or something like that. So one of the best things, the most powerful things you can be as a professional pilot is saying, I know the airspace of that address. Instantly, you know, within a few minutes, I can tell you the airspace of the address. And that is not something that was easy to do. Obviously, as I'm showing you, you couldn't do that. So that's really what I wanted to talk to you guys about today is like, I want to hear about your guys' experiences and what you guys have been experiencing when it comes to this, because this is a really big hindrance, and a lot of like the Film LA or other, you know, municipalities and things like that are starting to catch on and learn and say, oh, okay, we actually are fully in Class D airspace. Unless you have a waiver, you can't fly here. And they sit on their little, you know, happy pedestal and tell you just can't fly there, even though you might be on the edge of Class D airspace or Class E airspace. But that's what they do. And if you don't know your stuff and if you don't know what airspace you're flying in, there's a problem. So all that to say is that this could have been a much longer video, where I could be describing to you the ways that I have figured out now with the things that I do, the websites that I use for that. But I'm actually gonna walk you guys through that. I'm gonna show you all the different ways, or the different ways that I actually go through and find out exactly what airspace I'm flying in, because there's a couple different ways to do that effectively. This is the most ineffective way, but it also is a backup because, like I said, if you know how to read a sectional chart, then this is a sectional chart. It just isn't very accurate when it comes to the addresses. But there are other websites that can help you with that, where you can type in an address and they give you different types of information based upon the kind of information you want to get. So I'm going to do a whole separate video. It's going to come out on Wednesday, where I'm going to tell you guys about all of it and say, here's what I do every single time a client calls me. Here's how I check the airspace, because this could actually be a make or break thing, where one of the most frustrating situations is you have a client that calls you, I want you to fly for me 2 weeks from now in Albuquerque. And I want to do this, here's the address. And you're like, cool, let's do it, I'm in. And then they're like, all right, cool, let's get these permits and stuff. And you're starting to do the permits, and then they deny you, because you don't have the waiver. And now you've actually booked yourself for time that you may have turned other work down for, that you can't do either one of them now, because you already said no to the people you turned down, and the people you said yes to, you're not legally allowed to fly. So you just screw yourself twice, because you don't know what kind of airspace you're flying in. So welcome to the woes of being a professional drone pilot, but there's ways around that, and you're gonna learn all about that on Wednesday. So let's do that. Droners, thank you so much for checking out another Droner Dialogue. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. And if you guys want to see me talk about anything else, let me know below, because I read the comments. As always, make sure you support what we're doing by checking out other Droner videos, because we have more Droner Dialogue, and we also have the greatest opening video of a Droner page ever, because, it's great. And, like I said before, the best way to support us is to subscribe, because we do that. Or you can get one of these t-shirts and be fly like me, or you can hit up our Patreon, because that is super supportive, and that's like, I'm just like, thank you so much for doing that. Either way, you're the best, and stay fly.